Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and let's talk some mini picks. No, not these Work Pros, I'll get to those. Let's look at a few others. In particular, these OEM acetate handle medium length mini picks. Now the OEM tools, they make good stuff and not so good stuff, but overall I've been pleased with these, and I'll show you how they compare. Kind of stack up. In fact, let me go to this particular one. And one of the reasons I like this OEM set, which sells for about 15 bucks, not only is it an intermediate size and offers a good handle, a very good handle, not just because it's pretty green that I like, but it actually fits well in the hand and they've got the proportion just right. The shaft on these is actually closer to the longer mini picks that Snap-on makes. It's about 3.5 millimeters. These are just a few hundredths thicker, but it is definitely thicker than the about 3.15 versus 3.5 when you go to the shorter Snap-ons. But it's this tip that impresses me. This is my favorite and most used pick tip. In fact, this is one of my most used right here on this Snap-on. And any variation that matches that somewhat, I'm excited about. A lot of picks don't have that. If you go to even PB Swiss, this is about the closest they come, and as you can see, it doesn't have this kind of asymmetry to it. It still remains fairly symmetrical. Same with if you look at the where's the other one here? Here it is. The channel lock, they do kind of the same thing. Still retains some symmetry. So it's that asymmetry, that offset, that really gives this an advantage. Tekton, the USA made one, these are about $6 a piece, something like that. They didn't really take it to the next level. Kind of have this sort of bent hook. And I've been playing around. This is actually a cotter pin puller. This is a Mac Tools one. I have a Snap-on here, but it's so robust. But anyway, I was thinking about trying to bend this out and seeing if I could make a grown-up version of this bend here. Another project. But anyway, the acetate handle, acetate is actually a plant-based sort of plasticky material. It was invented about the time Abe Lincoln was president, at least for a few more months. And it's a solid material that has been around forever. Yes, it does discolor over time and has a few other issues, but overall it's proven material. Some of these plastics do some funny things depending on who's using them, who's making them. But anyway, what else? Well, it's fairly thin compared to some of the others, you can see, and long. If I compare the two handle lengths here, it's closer. If we put up the Tekton, about the same size there. Tekton's a little smaller in the shaft length here, but this Tekton handle really feels heavy, and this, not only is it slippery, but it tends to want to go out the back of your hand, whereas this does have a bit of a balance point within the handle, whereas this does not easily balance. Got to move quite a ways back, so if you choke up on it, it wants to fall out of the back of your hand. Just a small perception. I don't notice that as much. Actually, with the shorter Snap-ons, they are, you know, if you look at the balance point, it is about right there, kind of that index finger placement, a little behind it. But you don't feel like you're going to drop it, whereas this Tekton, it does feel like it's going to go out the back of your hand pretty easily. I think because this is solid back here, and that's, so it's got a weight feeling back. I'll get into this because I'm going to go into it also with the channel locks there. But anyway, this acetate set is also a good intermediate length, as I mentioned. So if I take, say, these three here, you can see that the OEM Tools version fits in nicely. Having an extra long one can be really handy, but it also can be in the way. So even though if I know I can get away with a shorter one, I always grab the shorter one. But sometimes having a longer one, I've found I'll hold it out here, but I'd rather have the appropriate size. And this is kind of a nice landing right in the middle. As far as the handle goes, if I line up the handles, you can see how they they fit, but if I line up the actual ends of the handles, you can see that it's not near as much compared to this, compared to the standard length snap-on. So depending on how you're measuring it, a lot of times I'd measure it, you know, just right where my thumb and index finger fall off. I like it's kind of a hexagon, 6-sided, 2 index points. Does have a dimple in the back. I don't know what use that would be, but there it is, probably because they're reusing a mold that they use for, you know, some of their screwdrivers or something. But anyway, it's a good set. I would recommend it. I have heard from some folks that some of these inexpensive ones, like the OEMs, Swan Lakes, etc., people have managed to break these out. Yeah, I imagine you could, especially if you put some serious hookage on something and we're yanking. That I've heard of that with all picks. But anyway, overall, I'm pleased with them. They are in my toolbox. I like the length, I like the color, I like the handle, and I like the price. About the same price for all of them as one Snap-on pick. And with that, Doc out.